Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Molly and I'm a hand-poke tattoo artist based in the UK. Today's video I'll be talking about something that is close to my heart and close to my skin. The history of women and tattoos. Now, when most people picture tattoo history, they think of trad, they think of sailors, they think of criminals, but usually they think of men. But the truth is, women have been there all along, doing the tattoos, getting tattooed, and pushing tattoo culture forward. Every time I get weird stares on public transport or invasive questions about my tattoos, I am very much reminded of women that paved the way for me to be as tattooed as I am in the 21st century. We're going to talk about tattooed mummies, circus tents, the 70s movement of feminist tattoos, all the way to Instagram grids in the modern day. So let's just get straight into it. Chapter 1. Ancient Inks, Women at the Dawn of Tattooing. I'm going to have my notes again, so sorry if I keep looking down at my notes, I just like to get things right. So, the earliest evidence of tattooing isn't in sailors, it's in women. In 2018, the British Museum revealed tattoos on a 5,000-year-old mummy, who is a woman. Scholars think that her tattoos might have been connected to spirituality, fertility, ritual, and protection. From the very beginning, women's bodies were inscribed with meaning. Across cultures, women's tattoos often came with spiritual or cultural weight. Among Inuit communities, women tattooed each other on the face and body. They marked womanhood, resilience, and readiness for marriage or childbirth. Missionaries worked to erase them, but Inuit women today are reviving the practice as cultural survival and feminist expression. In Samoa, women's tattoos are called the malu. These thigh tattoos are distinct from the male Pereira, and they symbolize service and familial protection. In New Zealand, Māori women's chin tattoos carry genealogy and identity. Today, they're being reclaimed in public life, worn by journalists and politicians. Their visibility sparks both pride and backlash, underlining how tattooed women's bodies are still read politically. Even in Japan, Ainu women tattooed their mouths and arms. These designs were protective and marked adulthood. The practice was banned in the late 19th century, but archival photos prove women's central role in Ainu tattooing. The big point is that women weren't an anomaly in tattooing origins. They were often the practitioners, the artists, the ritual keepers. That's our foundation. Part 2. Tattooed ladies, spectacle and scandals. Jump to the 19th century when tattoos entered Euro-American pop culture. Circuses promoted the tattooed lady. Nora Hildebrandt and Irene Woodward toured in the 1880s, covered in tattoos and framed through sensational stories, often racist captivity myths that claim they were forcibly tattooed by savages. By the 1930s, Betty Broadbent, nicknamed the Tattooed Venus, was performing at the World Fair. She was glamorous, photographed endlessly, and later became a tattooist herself. Broadbent is often credited as one of the first to cross from objectified spectacle to professional artist. But the fascination came with stigma. Tattooed women were framed as exotic, dangerous, or scandalous, and their bodies were viewed as entertainment. I once had an old man come over to me in the train station, and with the most enthusiasm in his face, just go, "We used to pay to see the tattooed lady in my day." Okay. Do not know how old this man was, but I can almost guarantee you he was not alive in the 1800s. Chapter 3. Women Behind the Needle. So let's expand a little bit on women as tattoo artists. Maud Wagner. In America, Maud Wagner is credited as the first known female tattoo artist. A circus performer, she met tattooist Gus Wagner, learned his craft, and became a professional herself. What is striking, though, about Maud is that she stuck with hand poking, even after the electric tattoo machine was invented. This made her work slower but deeply tied to tradition. In an era where women in tattoo shops were rare, she carved out authority. Jessie Knight. Across the Atlantic in the UK, Jessie Knight was Britain's first high-profile female tattoo artist. After working in her father's fairground booth, she opened shops of her own and developed a reputation for her skill. She won awards in the 1950s, beating her male peers in tattoo competitions. She also built a loyal female clientele. Her work is now part of museum exhibitions, reframing women as professionals in the tattoo industry. Fun fact about Jessie Knight, one of her apprentices, Winnie Eyre, is actually from Grimsby, where I am based, and I got to do a really fun project where I got to take photos of Winnie Eyre's tattoos that are still around on the Old Fisherman, and they all said that she's a really scary lady. Mildred Hull. Millie Hull, often named Queen of the Bowery, tattooed in 1930s New York. She was the only female tattoo artist in the Bowery district. Reports describe her shop as both a tattoo studio and also burlesque space. She blended performance and artistry. This is another lady who is very well known for being terrifying. Imagine being the only female tattoo artist in the whole of New York in the 1930s. She is not someone to be messed with. Kate Hellenbrand. In the 1970s, Shanghai Kate Hellenbrand became one of America's most influential tattooists. Sometimes called the godmother of American tattooing, she worked with giants like Sailor Jerry and Ed Hardy, but made her own mark as to mentor young women. She often said she had to be twice as good to get half the respect. Shanghai Kate has a special place in my heart. She passed away a couple of years ago, but she's one of the people that got me really, really into tattooing, and I've known since I was 12 that I wanted to be a tattoo artist after watching interviews with Shanghai Kate and really looking up to her and admiring her. So, R.I.P. Kate. So, why do these women matter? These women weren't anomalies. They were proof that women could thrive in a male-dominated craft. They paved the way for today's female-led tattoo studios and feminist tattoo cultures, and yet their stories were often written out of mainstream tattooing, with people like Shanghai Kate being forgotten over artists such as Ed Hardy. Only recently, through books, museums, exhibitions, feminist scholarship, these names have resurfaced. Chapter 4. Feminist Body Politics in the 1970s. Now we hit the feminist era, where feminism and tattoos collided. Margot Mifflin's Bodies of Subversion, first published in 1997, maps 3 waves of tattooed women. The circus performers of the late 19th century, the flappers of the 1920s, and the feminist revival of the 1970s. For second-wave feminists, tattoos became a declaration of bodily autonomy in a culture obsessed with controlling women's appearance. Artists like Vivian Lezonga encouraged women to claim space, with big tattoos, back pieces, sleeves, chest work. She argued that tattoos on women shouldn't be confined to small butterflies on ankles or roses on shoulders. They could be ambitious, artistic, and transformative. Sociologist Beverly Ewan Thompson, in Covered in Ink, documented the contradictions. Women used tattoos to reclaim their bodies, but tattoos also invited new forms of policing. Employers judged tattooed women more harshly than men. Families read tattoos as rebellion or shame. Tattoos made women visible, but sometimes too visible. There was also a therapeutic dimension. By the 1990s, women began using tattoos for healing. Breast cancer survivors chose chest tattoos over reconstruction, reclaiming scars as sites of beauty. Media celebrated these designs: flowers, mandalas, birds, both art and survival. In short, tattoos in this period were more than style. They were feminist politics etched in skin. Chapter 5. Tattoos Go Mainstream, 2000s Reality TV. Shows like Miami Ink in 2005 and LA Ink in 2007 made tattoos primetime entertainment. For millions, this was their first time seeing tattoo shops up close. Kat Von D became the breakout star, one of the most famous tattooists in the world. Academics note that these shows reframe tattoos as narrative devices. Every episode featured emotional backstories, a memorial for a parent, a symbol of recovery, a mark of identity. This made tattoos legible to mainstream audiences as meaningful, not deviant. And women noticed. In 2012, a Harris poll found that for the first time, women were more likely than men to have tattoos, 23% versus 19%. By 2023, Pew Research reported that 1 in 3 US adults has tattoos, with women leading in younger demographics. Tattoos were no longer rebellion, they were identity. But reality TV had its contradictions. Kat Von D was proof that women could dominate the industry, but shows offered leaned on gendered drama and personal conflict. Scholars argue that while visibility increased, stereotypes about tattooed women as dramatic, emotional, and unruly were also reinforced. Still, the mainstreaming effect was huge. By the 2010s, tattoos on women were everywhere. Chapter 6. Social media, the Instagram and TikTok era. Starting in the 2010s, Instagram became the portfolio platform. Artists didn't need shop binders, they had feeds and hashtags. Women used Instagram to find female tattooists, queer-friendly studios, and safer spaces. Academics call this the age of Instagram for tattooing. This reshaped what styles were popular too. Fine line, micro and minimalist tattoos, tiny constellations, delicate florals, script on ribs exploded because they look good on Instagram feeds. Social media has also empowered tattoo activism. Tattooing darker skin tones and challenging racist industry norms has become a lot more prevalent in the age of social media tattooing. And along with TikTok came tattoo tours, healing diaries, get ready with me for tattoo appointments. For Gen Z women, tattoos are less rebellion than lifestyle. It's a fashion statement, a tool of identity expression. Social media also amplified Indigenous revivals. Maori women's traditional tattoos are now visible in Parliament and broadcasting, reclaiming space stolen by colonisation. Inuit women's tattoos have also returned, proudly displayed on Instagram. Young women share their tattoo journeys as acts of cultural resistance. These revivals remind us, for many women, tattoos aren't fashion, they're sovereignty. Chapter 7. Are tattoos normalised on women? Despite mostly being normalised, tattooed women still face bias. Workplace studies show visible tattoos, especially on women, can limit job prospects. For me personally, I have had some very bizarre comments from people in public. I think I am more sexualized as a woman due to having a lot of tattoos. You get a lot of weird questions like, do you have any in places I can't see? Or do you like that it hurts or anything like that? No, mate, I like tattoos. I also surprisingly find that it's a lot of older women who really don't like your tattoos, and they assume that you are a prostitute, that you have loose morals, any of those kind of assumptions. I once had a woman come over to me at a public event that I was tattooing at and ask me if I was trying to turn myself black because I'm ruining my lovely white skin. I think as a woman, having tattoos is one thing and being heavily tattooed is another thing. I think having a few tattoos here and there, you're probably not going to experience many comments or judgment, but if you're a very heavily tattooed woman and very visibly tattooed, then you just have to be aware that you're going to get some freaky comments here and there. At the end of the day, I know that my tattoos are a visible thing. You look at me and you see my tattoos, so therefore you incorporate that into your first judgments of me. Maybe we don't come up to people in public and just make rude comments for no reason. You don't have to like my tattoos. I'm not going to pin you down and make you get tattooed. But coming up to me and telling me that you think I look like a tramp is a different story. If there's one takeaway to this, it's this. Women have always been central to tattooing. From ancient rituals to feminist rebellions, from circus sideshows to Instagram feeds, tattooed women aren't a trend. We're the story itself. So the next time someone tells you that tattoos on women didn't happen in their day, remind them, women were here first. Please feel free to let me know in the comments what you thought, if there's any female tattooist in history that is your favourite. If you really feel the need to leave me a comment about how much you hate my tattoos, go for it. As long as you make it funny. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I will include sources and further reading in the bio, as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!